When I'm out and about looking at gardens, I do see a lot of badly managed hedges, so I thought I'd do a short video on success with hedge trimming. So first of all, equipment. This will usually be a hedge trimmer, either electric or possibly a petrol machine. If you're using petrol, they tend to be quite noisy, so ear defenders are a good idea. If you're trimming a high hedge, such as this one here, goggles are quite useful because you get a lot of rubbish comes out of the hedge and you get a face full. Again, if the hedge is high, you need some kind of step ladder. Always make sure that's stable. One with wide set feet is good, and also with a top bar to hold on to for additional stability. If in doubt at all, try and get someone to foot it for you. And one golden rule when you're on a step ladder trimming a hedge: never lean out beyond your centre of gravity. It's always tempting to get that last little bit. Much better to get down, move the ladder, carry on. So in terms of the how, well, you're trimming back to form a line at the height and the width you want. One thing that I see a lot of is hedges where the top has got larger, or broader should I say, than the bottom, which is really bad news because it starts a vicious circle. The top gets more light anyway, it grows more vigorously, the top gets bigger and bigger, and the bottom gets shaded out and thinner and thinner and thinner. So if I just swing this around to show you this hedge here, you can see, albeit a rather scraggly hedge, it is actually vertical. If you're starting with a new hedge, it's better still to actually cut it so that it angles back on itself, so it's broader at the base, and try and maintain it that way. That way you're getting like all the way down the full length of the hedge and keeping it full and dense. Similarly, when starting with a young hedge, don't be tempted to will it to get tall quickly. Start trimming soon. That way it makes a good dense hedge. If you try and just let it go up and up and up before you start trimming it, it will tend to be very open, which isn't as good. So for time of year, simple golden rule: if in doubt, end of summer is very good, because the hedges have pretty well stopped growing by then. You probably haven't got nesting birds, and if you trim it then, it's going to look tidy and orderly right through the winter into the spring the next year. But from a practical point of view, if you're trimming more than once a year, really any time from spring to late summer, possibly into early autumn, not too good to do it after that, because you're creating wounds on sometimes quite fresh soft wood which isn't ripened as you're coming into the winter. One golden rule: don't trim evergreens in the winter, because unlike deciduous hedging, they never go fully dormant, and therefore they're susceptible to damage from frost. Let's walk back up the hedge again. One particular thing, the ubiquitous Leylandii, much maligned, but actually a very good hedging plant. It's quick growing, it's evergreen, it's reliable. One golden rule, well, two golden rules. One is don't turn your back at it. Trim it every year without fail, because one year it's 6 foot, suddenly you look and it's 12 foot, and then you've got a problem. What you mustn't also do is to trim it back into the bare wood. If I swing around here and show you this is actually the golden form of Leylandii, but you can see you've only got about 8 or 9 inches of green. If you trim back into that bare wood in there, that won't regrow. So you cut them back hard, you will have a bare-sided hedge forever. So trim them regularly, keep on top of them, keep looking after them. There are alternatives to Leylandii which are actually better, and I'm going to do publish a list of my top 10 hedges which will include that. So I hope that's of some help, and bye for now.